They dropped the ball on that part. They were able to squash negative publicity. In '95, Jack in the Box had an issue with E. coli. And that was bad publicity for months and months and months. In fact, and they lost sales because of that. Even though it was the safest place to eat the next day because they burned everything. So it cost them something like $13.5 million to put a commercial together and send the commercials out to say, hey, we're a safe place now to eat. So it took a ton of time back then, it cost the money, it costs next to nothing now to get out there. But nobody's using it for negative purposes yet, which I still find rather interesting. YouTube, Google Video, and Flickr. Everybody here has seen a YouTube video, right? Everybody has their favorites. There are now YouTube stars. Anybody here seen Fred at all? Okay. Fred is a kid who's 15 now. He's got 3 seasons of episodes out. He talks in an annoying, high-pitched voice. My kids find him hilarious. I find him annoying as all get out. He makes $50,000 a month. He has really no overhead from being on YouTube and having 1.5 million subscribers. People have opted in because they want to know what he's doing. That's his fan base. Nickelodeon got a hold of him last year and put him on an iCarly episode. Anybody familiar with iCarly at all? iCarly is a television show for kids based upon these 2 girls and a friend of theirs who's a boy doing webisodes called iCarly.com. When Fred was on there, their ratings actually quadrupled. And they only had to pay Fred, I think, 50 grand just to be on the show. Carl's Jr., a few months ago, spent $15,000 per internet star, or YouTube star, to talk about their portobello mushroom sandwich. And said, listen, talk about it for a couple minutes, so all your followers see it. 28 million views within the first day. You can't do that with a television commercial for next to nothing that type of cost. Converse shoes spent when they rebuilt their company, spent their whole $12 million advertising budget, getting a hold of 300 stars in advertising, basketball, music industry, independent artists, and saying, send us a 26-second video on why you like Chucks. I'm going to post it on YouTube. Get out on email, get out virally. 2 months went by before they got the first commercial. They thought they had totally screwed up completely because that was their whole budget for the year. They got the first commercial, it was okay. In 1 month, though, they got over 800 commercials because these guys had sent out to their friends. Shaquille O'Neal did one on his Chucks. And so they took, and it didn't cost them, $12 million is not that much for a budget, especially for a large company. So MTV heard about it and started playing their video content as well. They didn't have to even deal with MTV. And they got just tons of feedback on it. People are calling up and saying, listen, I just spent 3.5 months on this project for you for a 26-second video. I love it, it's great. And they didn't have to pay them. So, who here has done a YouTube video of their game? Awesome. Anybody here familiar with armor games or addicting games at all? Mini clip? Okay, so 6 months ago they started doing their walkthroughs. They were seeing a declining level of interest in their puzzle games because people were getting frustrated because they couldn't figure out the levels. And the forums and chats were going back and forth. So they started using YouTube videos as their walkthrough of the game. So they would play every level there. So if you got stuck on a level, you click walkthrough, took you to YouTube on their channel, and it showed you how to play and beat that level. So you can go on to the next game. An instructional video. Did great. And now Google considers it, since they bought YouTube, the #2 search engine in the world. I learned how to break into my car with a tennis ball on YouTube.
You can do that?
All you have to, this is great, you cut an inch-long slot. As long as you got power locks, you have a plus sign right there, inch there, inch there. You put up next to the lock itself, you hit it, it pushes enough air in there to pop up in the lock.
Wow.
And that's how you break into YouTube.
Oh my gosh.
So, Yeah, well, yeah, I would love to have Mythbusters on there as well too. Discussion in forums. We used Skype yesterday. Skype was great. Tim spoke to us through it. It was awesome. Who here uses Skype for their communications? We got a friend in Costa Rica. It's cheap and easy. Ning.com. Again, it's a free forum. There are 2 Christian ministries on Ning right now that are reaching out to thousands of children's pastors. And Michael Chanley started this, and it's cmconnect.org. And if you haven't joined, you need to join, because these are children's pastors who've got congregations between 100 kids up to 50,000 kids. And they need to know about your product. So cmconnect.org is a great one to be on. The other one is kidology.org. It's by Carl Bastian. Zealots for hobbyists. This is the one that I used to belong to for paper engineering. When they got bought out, they started killing off some of the moderators because they didn't consider them politically correct, and started putting up rules and regulations of what you could and could not talk about. And that's really starting to pick people up, but they wanted the ad space for it. So those are a few sites to take a look at. And if you're not on, you can get beta tester software as well too. There's tons of people with every single hobby underneath the sun on these forums. WordPress and Blogger. Who here has a WordPress.com account? There you go. It takes all of 5 minutes to set up. WordPress now, if you have LinkedIn, LinkedIn has an app where your WordPress blog will update your LinkedIn account automatically. Same with Twitter. WordPress also is going to have an iPhone app as well too for it. The interesting thing here on WordPress though is they got two possibilities, WordPress.com and WordPress.org. WordPress.org gives you all the tools of WordPress.com, but you are responsible for your hosting, you're responsible for your anti-spam, your antivirus, everything. WordPress.com does it all for you. So if you want to handle the responsibility of all that, WordPress.org is the way to go. And you have thousands of different templates, you can customize your own. Whereas WordPress.com, you're stuck with 70. And you do limited customization. I'm working with healthmarkets.com right now to get their agents for the WordPress blog. And we're going through compliance now about what they can and cannot say with the Securities Commission right now. Because health marketing is considered a security in a sense, that falls under the FTC as well as the SEC. But they have a ton of content that has already passed compliance. They're just going to be copying and pasting in. And for insurance agents, it's a great way to get the word out about what to buy, what not to buy. An explanation. Now, Obama's healthcare plan in America has got hundreds of people confused about what's going on. But through WordPress or Blogger, you can explain your point of view and get that out there. Dan, for your movies, do you have a WordPress? You're going to get one. It's an online business diary, and people are interested in your thoughts. The great thing about this, though, is that if you're the CEO of your company, you can explain what you're doing. People feel that you're reaching out to them and talking more on a personal level. They're more likely to buy than anything else. And a lot of companies now are treating this WordPress or Blogger or their blog as a landing page and redirecting people out. Search engines now, especially the way they work when they find individual piece of information, will take you to that page, not to the front page of their website. So they're now co-linking everything together into their blog so that people, when they find information, can hopefully find on their blog first and then go to their website. And that's actually worked for us for a couple of different companies, Autospace.com and Wings Aloft. What was interesting, though, is that the owner for Wings Aloft realized how powerful MySpace was, and he was using that for background checks on his employees. What he didn't realize was Facebook and blogs, and when I showed him that he was mentioned in over 200 blogs in a negative way, it blew him away. And so, who here has Googled themselves at all? Have you gone back on any of the negative feedback at all yet?